Hi, everybody. My name is Christian. I'm part of the hobbyDB team. And just the other day, we were excited to get two diecast legends together to discuss our newest digital collectibles project, the ones that got away. Never before seen designs from the brilliant minds of Larry Wood. So join Hot Wheels historian Bruce Pascal, who also is our lead investor in the current crowdfunding that's closing next Friday, and Mr. Hot Wheels himself, Larry Wood, as I discuss the inspiration behind the newest hobbyDB digital collectibles.
Christian, and I'm excited, Larry, to be talking to you this evening. You know, I'm a real estate agent, and for some reason, I always seem to remember the deals that I didn't make more than the thousands of deals that I've made. And a guy like you, I don't even know if you've counted how many cars you've designed and that were released over the years, but have you ever had an experience where you've designed cars and they just weren't released and you really liked them?
Yeah, through the years, there's ones that I've always wanted to do, and this is the first chance I'm getting to actually draw them and show them to people. So this is pretty exciting to me.
Well, I've done a little bit of research and I've come up about 5 cars, I think, that you designed, and I've never seen them in a die cast.
Exactly.
And the first one I want to ask you about is a cool car called California Dreamin'. Can you tell me about that car and perhaps what your inspiration for that car was?
Sure. Here's the drawing. And the story behind this one is, this is the car that changed my life, because in 1968, this is the car I left Detroit and came to California in. And that's why the story is California Dreamin'. It was December and the weather was terrible, and I hopped in my Corvette and said, goodbye, Detroit. Drove this thing all the way across the United States at high speeds, I must add. And it was great, had a good time. And if I was to make this into a toy, I was thinking that it could do a wheelie and these flames would actually hold the car up. Maybe they would fold under when the car was level. And then when the car did a wheelie, these flames helped hold it up. So it would be kind of neat to be a toy. I'm doing this more as a serious thing for adults, but if it was a toy, that would be kind of a neat idea where it would go down a track on the flames. So just one of those crazy ideas, but this car meant a lot to me at the time.
Well, it's pretty cool. As I look at that car, I just had a couple of questions. Did you actually have those dual lights in the front or the engine above?
Yep. I had those, and driving at night, those were high powered lights, and I would flip them on and you could see freeway signs like 2 miles away. Of course, people coming the other way were flicking their lights on and off, but yeah, I was running pretty good speeds across the United States with this thing. I was going to California and nothing was going to slow me down. The funny thing is I had race tires on it, and if I had hit a drop of snow or rain, I would still be in the ditch and somewhere in the middle of the United States. I made it all the way cross country, not a drop of rain.
Wow, thank God. Otherwise, the Hot Wheels world would never been the same.
Yeah, I'd be in Albuquerque in the ditch.
Now, I thought one car you drove was, well, not actually, I don't think you drove this car, but one car you designed that was pretty unique looking was called the Winged Express. Can you tell me about that car and perhaps where you got the inspiration for that?
Funny thing about this car is it's kind of an omen to Bob Lovejoy, who was the designer with me in the very beginning. And he was really into airplanes. And this was a prototype we made. And it actually, I saw it when I was going through all my old Hot Wheels, and when I sold the Hot Wheels, this was a prototype that sold with it. But basically it was a car that goes down the track and the wings are folded inside. And when it hits a certain spot, or maybe when it goes over a jump or something, the wings come out of the car. They slide out of the sides of the car and they go up and back. So it's got a jet engine. And as you know, I worked at Pratt & Whitney, so I knew jet engines. So this was the kind of the airplane version of a Hot Wheel that it obviously wouldn't fly, but it would go off the track and the wings would spread out. So it would be a real shocker to see a big change like that. So this was an actual prototype. We were supposed to build it back in the day and we never did.
Well, what a shame. Now, would you say that was a collaboration with Bob Lovejoy, or was that something on your own?
You know, again, we had 3 or 4 designers there, Lovejoy and Tam and myself and Howard. And this was one of his ideas. And again, it was made into a prototype. The wings came out and everything. So it was pretty cool. So this was kind of to remember Bob, you know.
Well, I actually have seen that prototype. It is pretty cool car. Yeah, it's known by a collector who has it in California now. And boy, I share your enthusiasm if that car had been released.
Oh, so, that would be a great car to make.
There's still hope. Now, of course, it's the evening. I know you probably came home and had a glass of beer. And did that inspire this car called the Bureau Clock? I like to see that car.
Well, the reason I did this is I said, we're not doing this for kids. This is for adult collectors. And this is the Bureau Clock. So this is the one that delivers the beer at 6 o'clock at night when you're done working. And it's got a tap on the back where you just have your beer delivered and you stand around. We take this to car shows and stuff, and everybody in the world would hang around your place. So this is the adult version of some of the trucks I did when I was at Hot Wheels. You know me, I like the streamlined 30s cars. So this was kind of a takeoff on that. Kind of reminds me of my cab over that I built too.
Yeah.
But the beer thing was just the thing to say, hey, these are adult drawings, not just for kids.
So I know your cab eventually became a pizza truck.
Yeah, exactly.
Between us, I think it would have been better if it was the beer truck, you know.
Now you're talking.
Yeah. Now we're talking. That's a pretty cool one. Another car that I thought, I just love the colors and the lines, and you know, I'm debating myself, is this a car that should be made as a die-cast car or should have been made as a car, is the 60s concept. I'd love to hear a little bit about that car.
Okay. As most people know, I worked at Ford in the 60s. I got there 65, 67, 68, and I worked in the Mustang studio for a while. And this is a new sketch from an old drawing that I did. I changed the wheels, you know, put red lines on it, and a few things like that. But this was originally basically the drawing I did in 67. And the cool thing about this is it was the colored rubber front end, which nobody had done in 67. This was for 69. Nobody had done up to that point. And of course, Pontiac did it years later, but this was the idea to put a colored plastic nose on a Mustang 2 or 3 years before anybody else had done it. I still think it was a cool idea. Hidden headlights, body colored front end. Of course, it has the shaker hood scoop, which I worked on when I was at Ford. So it's kind of a combination of everything I would have done back then. But again, I put the bigger wheels, the Hot Wheel wheels on it as if I was going to do it now. But this was a concept that I did at Ford, and I still think it would have been pretty cool.
You know, I'm looking at the louvered windows in the back also.
Yep.
That was pretty popular in the 69 cars. And
exactly, yeah, it was a
and
cool
you were
thing.
thinking of
that was a fun studio. We did a lot of fun stuff in that studio because again, Mustangs were hot, you know, and we were working on the 69 70s. We did a little bit on the 68s, but basically, and again, being a kid, you were doing doorknobs and doing grills and taillights and stuff like that, but still very exciting to see this car. It was in clay too, you know, so it was always sitting there right in front of us. So it was very cool.
What scale was that? How big was that?
It was full-size clay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where'd that go? Is that in your garage now?
Yeah.
Not in your garage anymore?
No, I wish it was. That's a lot of clay.
You know, the last car, I mean, I got to tell you, I see a little bit of similarities to maybe some other cars out there, but you definitely didn't make it the way it looks in this picture. Tell me about the Skull-Duggery.
Okay, Skull-Duggery. Obviously, it's a takeoff on something I did, a car that I did for Hot Wheels. But in real life, I actually built this thing as a trike. It was a 3-wheel trike that I built in my garage, and I drove it around the neighborhood, and I even took it to the Hot Wheels car show. Now, it didn't have this engine in it. It had just 110 horsepower Honda or something like that. But this thing would do wheelies and do spin outs. It was a drift trike, and it was really cool. And I thought, hey, this is too much fun. It should be as a toy. Now, remember the trikes we did back then? We had one of them had a skeleton on it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking this would actually have the skeleton with it, you know, rather than just no person in it. We don't do many cars with people in it, but this thing would be very cool. It's obviously got a big V8 in it, and it's got the skull and everything else on it. But this is a takeoff of what the next one should have been done. And like I said, I actually built the real thing. It was just a smaller version, but it's been great fun doing that.
Wow. I think I know the answer, but if you had to drive one of these cars every day, I don't know if it'd be the tricycle back and forth.
I think it'd be a trike, wouldn't it?
The 405 on the highway.
Oh, can you imagine wearing a skull outfit and going down and have a skull on your helmet and everything and driving that thing down the freeway? Oh man, that'd be so cool.
It would be. But what car do you think would be the one that if I said, here's the keys, we made the car, and I want you to drive on the 405 for 60 miles, which car would you take?
Well, you know, I'd really like to have my split window Corvette back.
Yeah.
their prices have gone. I sold that car for $1,500. I mean, you know, you'd be lucky to find one for $150,000
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So I wouldn't mind having my old Corvette back. Big tires. I cut the wheel wells out, lowered it down, put those driving lights on the front. No bumpers or anything. It was a fun car to drive. 4-speed, you know, small block Chevy and everything.
Well, Larry, this has been amazing to hear about these 5 that got away. That's another way of looking at it.
That's
And
exactly
there is
it.
hope. Maybe one day, you know, I'll go
Yep.
to the store on Walmart and I go, I can't believe it. There's Larry's design. There's still hope. We're still young.
Yep.
Happy birthday, Larry, by the way.
Oh, thank you. And the cool thing is, and you guys watching, you can have these drawings. So, you know, leave it up to Kristen to tell you more about it.